Alright, so we're going to do another little time lesson today, and this is going to be telling time to the half hour and telling time to the hour. So remember just real quickly that this is our analog clock. Our analog clock has our big numbers 1 through 12, and it also has our hour hand. Remember, hour is a shorter word, so hour has to be with the shorter hand. And minute is a longer word, so minute has the longer hand. So right now, if you're looking at my clock, you're probably thinking, I know what time that is. Hopefully you are, because we've been trying to learn about telling time to the half hour. So like I said, with the minute hand, you always count by fives. There's 60 minutes in each hour. So if I start here at 0 and go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, my minute hand is pointing at 30. We said it's half past the hour. So anytime we've talked about it being on the 6, it's always going to be 30. Anytime you see the minute hand pointing on the 6, the minutes will read 30. Now looking at our hour hand, this is a little tricky. Like I said, he's not quite touching the 2 and he's not quite touching the 3. But like we've said before, this whole section belongs to my friend number 2. The hour hand can't read both numbers. It can only choose one. And he's going to choose 2. Because if you notice when I turn my clock here, it hasn't quite reached 3 until I get back to the 12. Then everything after this now would start with the hour 3. Okay? So let's put it back to my time. So this hour right now, since it's in the 2's area, and I also said, if you look at your hour hand and you go back, the number that it's behind the hour hand, that's the trick I use. That's the trick I was taught, and that's the trick I use. I always look at my hour hand and I say, oh, my 2 is behind it, so it has to be 2 something. And in this case, it's 2:30. Because we said anytime the minute hand's on the 6, it is 2. So then my time keeps going. I'm going to erase this, that way nobody gets confused. And then my minute hand keeps on going, 45, 50, 55, 60. So we're at the beginning of a new hour. So my hour hand is now touching the 3. So it's 3. And we said anytime that minute hand touches the 12, it's a new hour. But we use a phrase called o'clock. So it's 3 o'clock. Now on a digital clock, I'm just going to write it on here. We said our hour is 3. And then I have my little colons. Now, since we're starting a new hour, we're starting completely fresh. So it would read 0, 0. So on a digital clock, we would add 2 zeros because we're starting fresh. So it's 3, hour hands on 3, write our hour first. 0, 0 means 3 o'clock. And it means we're starting a brand new hour. And then it'll go around again. And here in this case, he's still in that middle, but the 3, he hasn't touched the 4 yet. So it's 3, and he's on the 6. My minute hand's on the 6, so it has to be 30. 3:30. So now we are going to do our worksheet. You're going to need scissors, glue, and a pencil. For time purposes, I've already cut out my digital clocks and put them over here. So like I said, it's the best, just like in class, you want to make sure that all of your choices are laying in front of you, they're up, they're right, so you can read them, and they're not all over the place, because then it makes it difficult, and you might lose one. So what it wants us to do is to cut out, which I already did, so check, and it wants us to paste or glue down the digital clocks to match the analog clocks. So again, analog clock has our hour and minute hand, and our digital reads like this, hour, minute. So I'm going to do 2 examples with you, and then you're going to pause this video and you're going to do the rest on your own. So this first one, it gives us our hour hand. Remember our shorter hand, hour is a shorter word. Hour hand is pointing in between the 1 and the 2. It hasn't quite reached the 2 yet, so all of this area belongs to the 1. So I know I'm going to go ahead and write it down here just in case so I don't forget. So 1, I see, okay, 1. And my minute hand is pointed on the 6. So like I said, we start at the 12, we go 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Minute hand touching the 6 is always going to be 30. So let's see if we're right. Do we have 1:30? Yep, we do. I see 1:30 right there. All right, so let's do one more. So I'll go down this way. So I'm going to first look for my hour hand. Is my hour hand the shorter hand or the longer hand? If you said the shorter hand, you are correct. My shorter hand is pointing at the 3. So I'm going to write it down just so that way if I forget while I'm looking, it's just a good check to see if I'm right. We'll know we're right if there's an answer option over here. And then my minute hand is my longer hand, and it's pointing at the 12. If it's pointing at the 12, what does that mean? What minute does that mean? If you said 00 or o'clock, you are correct because we're starting a brand new hour. On our digital clock, when our minute hand is on that 12, it will read 00. So let's see if we were correct. If we were correct, there'll be an option over here somewhere. And I see one. It's 3 o'clock right here. So go ahead and pause the video and complete the rest of these on your own. You will use every single one of these. So if you get to the last one and you're missing one, that means you probably lost it. But try to keep track of them. And if you don't have scissors and glue, you can just look at the bottom and write your digital clock in. Instead of writing it in the corner, you can just write it in that big box. So go ahead and get started.